Okay, you know this already. Americans are paying more for just about everything right now as inflation hits a 30-year high. Groceries, rent, utilities, furniture, gas, all of it. In California, the price of a gallon of gas just today hit its highest point since 2012. And in some places, like at this station in Southern California, it's topping out near $5 a gallon. So why is everything so expensive? To help us analyze this is Rana Foroohar. She is a CNN global economic analyst and also global business columnist and associate editor at the Financial Times. So good to see you. Okay, let's start with that basic question. So why? Why is it all so expensive right now?
Why are we paying more? Well, it's a combination of short-term and long-term factors. Let's start with the most obvious. COVID. We had a global pandemic, everything shut down, and then everything ramped back up pretty quickly. We've had a really robust recovery. It may not feel like that always, but the numbers show it's been pretty strong in the last few months, particularly as the Delta variant has gone away. So that creates inflationary pressure. But when you think about how, products get to your supermarket, how does gas get into the tank of your car? There's a long process, and that involves supply chain. So, we've heard about clogging up at ports in LA. We've heard about truck drivers not being able to be found because there aren't enough of them to drive produce to the market. All these things factor into the price that you ultimately pay. And then, of course, there's rising fuel prices, and that has to do with certain things going on all over the world, like the transition to cleaner fuels and the push around climate change. There are new restrictions on fossil fuels that makes energy prices more expensive in the short term. Lots of other things going on, but it's sort of a perfect storm of factors right now.
Wow. And so when you talk about, the shipping containers, off the coast, particularly off the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, we're talking about more than 80, are there right now just kind of stuck, anchored there. The shortage of truckers, as you just mentioned, is still a big problem. So when you lay it out like that, it certainly paints the picture that there isn't going to be relief right around the corner. This sounds like this is going to be a long, drawn-out process.
Well, it's interesting. I would say no relief around the corner, meaning I expect the next few months certainly to be inflationary. I think that as we get into Christmas, we're all going to be feeling it a little more in our wallets as we shop. But the big question is, does this last 6 months to a year? Is this 2 years, 3 years, or are we in the 70s, which, I can remember where you had a decade of inflation? Yeah. I think that we are going to see relief sooner rather than later, and I'll tell you why. Already, I'm talking to a lot of companies that are taking all kinds of actions. Big companies like Amazon and Target and Walmart, they're buying their own containers. They're using artificial intelligence to speed up their supply chains. There's a lot of stuff that's in train right now that's not going to show up maybe for 6 months or a year, but ultimately it will. So I don't think we're back to the 70s. But is Christmas going to be more expensive than last year? For sure.
Well, do you agree with the president who says he believes his economic plans will help ease inflation?
I do, but again, it depends on timing. When you think about building back better, when you think about infrastructure, which we absolutely need, we need better ports, better roads, better bridges, better trains. All that is going to ease congestion in the longer term, but in the short term, when you're doing that building, that's inflationary. So it's really tricky for the president because, in the run up to midterms, we may see higher prices, and that puts political pressure on him around ideas that they're probably a good thing vectorally, but are going to have some trade-offs in the short term.
Oh my goodness. So the Federal Reserve, is still saying that inflation is, quote, transitory. Is that another way of saying, while it may continue to spike a little bit longer for, a good amount of time, as you put it, it will still be a long way to go before we start seeing those prices drop again?
Well, it's always interesting decoding Fed speak, words like transitory. What they're saying is that we don't think we're in the 70s. This will eventually ease, but we don't know when. And they're also trying to buy themselves a little wiggle room, a little time around when they start to raise interest rates. We've had a long period of low interest rates, which interestingly actually creates inflationary pressure. You think about how low interest rates are for mortgages right now. That means a lot of people have bought housing. That raises housing prices. So it's a balancing act, and the Fed is saying we're watching this carefully, and we're not going to take any sudden action, but eventually we'll start to raise rates.
Yeah, that word transitory, that's a very non-committal word.
It is.
I'm still trying to figure out,
it's
what
a
does that
non-trivial
really
time.
mean for the bottom line? What does that mean? All right, Rana Faruhar, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right, one of the places that we are all seeing inflation, yes, is at the grocery store. We need our groceries just for food staples. Milk is up more than 4% from this time last year. Meat is up almost 15%. Eggs, nearly 12%. Joining us right now, we'd love to have our Stu Leonard, and he always has a great smorgasbord to help our story and to help tell us what is going on. He is the CEO of Stu Leonard's Grocery Stores, which has locations across 3 states. Always great to see you and to see your selections.
How are you?
We're doing pretty good. But oh my gosh, the prices of everything is just so hard, and it's making it difficult for a lot of households. We're having to pick and choose, whether it be because of the bottom line, how much things are, or because things are not on the store shelves. So talk to us about the spike of prices in the last year. What are you seeing? What is more expensive today than last year at about this time in your store?
Well, I think when you look, and Rona had some good points there, but when you look at the total cost of your Thanksgiving meal, it's the least expensive holiday meal of the year, okay? Because you're paying around $2 or so a pound for turkey right now. So I wouldn't have people panic that this is going to really impact their wallet.
Yeah.
I think what I would recommend, like you mentioned, transportation costs, you know, if you can buy locally. And one of the things we've done, even, we found some of our larger turkey producers, they are shorting turkeys to us. You know, when you think about it, you have to make your decision on how many turkeys to raise in January. So just think, in another 6 weeks, a lot of turkey producers have to make their predictions for 2022. So you're throwing a dart right there. A lot of big companies threw the dart a little low. They didn't think the economy and everything would be as good as it is right now. And customers are ready to celebrate Frederica right now. We're seeing that here at Stu Leonard.
So reportedly there was going to be a real problem with turkeys, particularly because, you know, last year there was such a surplus, and, you know, turkeys have to be at a particular ripe age in order to be the best product. And so that setback caused real problems this year. But you're saying if you stick with local, you'll have a better shot at getting a bird on your table?
Well, that's what we did. We went to, when we got shorted by our large company, we went to one of our local farmers that we have, and we got plenty of turkeys. We're going to sell 70,000 turkeys this year.
Wow.
And I promise everybody, I promised our customers, I guarantee you a turkey. Now, if you wait till like Tuesday to buy it before Thanksgiving, you might not get the size you want.
Right. Oh, well, let's talk about those
size
sides right
maybe,
now. Sides are so important. I mean, for a Thanksgiving meal, both apple pie and biscuits are up more than 6%, for example. Do you feel like people are making different adjustments? And we see the graphic right here, canned vegetables up, you know, biscuits. Yeah. Are people making different adjustments about their menu because of what it's going to cost them?
You know, Frederica, I think that's a good point. You may not find the brand that you want, but you are going to find cranberry sauce. You will find a pie. I mean, you're going to find everything you need in the stores right now. And the other thing you can do is make a lot of it yourself. I mean, we have this dinner for 8 right here, right? Mm-hmm. It's $175. You know how much it was last year? $175.
Really?
That's just a little less than $22 a head. This price hasn't changed right here. Now, some of our costs have gone up. I mean, we're a family business. I'm not public. We're going to absorb some of it. I've worked with our farmers and ranchers and everything to sort of split the cost increases, which they've agreed to. So we're trying to hold the prices down. If you shop smart, you make your own product at your house rather than buy it prepared. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but like we do with our chefs here at the store. You can economize this holiday and you won't feel that sticker shock.
Yeah. Hey, I like your portions there. If that's a meal for 8 right there, that means some nice, healthy, generous portions. I like that. But I also like that at your store, you can do it yourself, but then at the same time, you are also making it a little bit easier on some of your customers because you'll prepare stuff too.
And Frederica, I think it's going to cost more for people to drive to their Thanksgiving meal than it will be for the price increase of the actual food.